Welcome to New Stripe City, a YouTube channel for diehard Bengals fans. I'm your host, Ace Boogie. Had some little technical difficulties. You'll probably notice that the camera isn't the best, but we're working through that. But if you're new here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. If you are returning here, we appreciate your support and thank you for the diehards that are coming back. This is Q&Ace, where I'm going to answer your questions live. You can either leave them in comment form, or if you join this little link right here, you can actually come on live with me and ask your question. I'll answer it. I literally did it at 8:30 tonight just because I was just on Bengal Jim's channel. If you haven't, if you're not subscribed to there, definitely please be sure to do that because he's got a lot of cool stuff planned. They got a crawl. I think it's a bar crawl, I think, planned for the city of Cincinnati. All of the Bengals fans are meeting up, so definitely be sure to hit him up. And then obviously they're also going to the Hall of Fame with Ken Riley to basically make the point for Ken Riley and Ken Anderson to make the Hall of Fame. And I think it's going to be a great event. So definitely be sure to check it out. Me and Zim were over there. So if you haven't watched it, please be sure to check that out. And then I think he also has Archie Griffin on there. But with that being said, I'm going to try to keep it to like 30 minutes because I usually have 8 to 9. I got some family things to do, but we're just going to open it up. The first thing that I'll say is stay tuned for the Civil War. It's coming Wednesday. We got some heavy hitters. If you're following me on Twitter at New Stripe City, you already know who some of those heavy hitters are, but there's more. There's a lot more. And we're going to bring that to you guys Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just going to look at the comments right now. We don't have anyone backstage. So like I said, if you want to jump on, I don't know which way to point. You got to hit this link right there. You hit that link, you'll jump in. I'll bring you on. You can ask your question, and we'll get it going. So the first one that I'm going to see here from the chat, it looks like it's coming from 101 Drone. My man says, who do you like for the first pick in the draft? I think that one is pretty easy. It's going to be Trevor Lawrence. I think the Jaguars have already made up their mind. I don't think that there's any kind of debate on who's going number 1 and number 2. Honestly, I think Zach Wilson is probably locked in at number 2. Number 3 is really where the draft begins for me, where we're going to have to see whether or not the 49ers are taking Mac Jones, or if they're taking Justin Fields or Trey Lance, or if they just surprise everyone and take Jamar Chase. So I think that it's probably going to be Justin Fields or Mac Jones. And then you get to Atlanta, and that's where it gets kind of tricky too, because they could take a quarterback as well. They could take Kyle Pitts. And so either way it happens, I think that you'll at least have Panay and Chase, or Pitts and Chase, or Pitts and Panay that you'll be picking from. So let's see. What's up, y'all? All right, I'm going to pick another question here. If you want to ask your question in the form of a video, all you have to do is go to this link that I had displayed here. I have it up there. We actually just got someone backstage. My man Carson just joined us. Give me 1 second, Carson. We'll get right to you. I'm going to answer another question here from my man Nathan Cohen, and I'll give you guys more time to kind of get in. If you're in the chat, it should be at the top where the link is. Nathan asks, do you think Zach will be fired if he doesn't win 6 games or more? I could see it, unless like Joe Burrow gets hurt like early in the season. That's the only way I could see it, because 6 wins in a 18-game season now, that's a little different. I think that is possibly a fireable offense. But I'm going to go ahead and bring my man in, Carson. I'm going to go ahead and put this link back up here. So if you guys are watching, super chats are open. So if you do want a guaranteed answer, that is also an option as well. Well, Carson, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, man?
Chilling, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Had myself a decent day.
Yes, sir. That's always good, bro.
Oh, yeah.
What you got for me?
Wait. Sorry. What'd you say?
No. I was just saying, what question you got for me?
Oh, yeah. So Thaddeus Moss was released by the football team. I don't know if it was today, but I know it was recently. And he was a really valuable asset and target for Joe Burrow at LSU. So do you think we should try and pursue him, even though he's had injury problems, which is why he was out last year?
Yeah, I think they should. Me personally, I definitely think so. I think, if I'm not mistaken, when he went undrafted, I believe the Bengals put a claim in on him, right? So I think that it just makes total perfect sense because I've been a critique of the tight end position and I feel like I'm in the minority. But when you look at this position a year out, when you're talking about a CJ Uzoma who's coming back from a significant injury and he's going into the last year of his contract, he's a Marvin guy. We've seen what they've done with Marvin guys. They haven't really kept the door open for them. So that means in the next season, you're going into a season with essentially Drew Sample as your number one, which I think he's more of a number two tight end. He's more of a complementary kind of piece. He's not the guy that you really want as your number one. And then after that, you got Mason Schreck, and then you got another guy that's on Packers squad. So for me, I think that it would make sense to bring in a guy like Moss because you did also lose Ethan Carter. Moss could possibly fit into that role. And he's already got chemistry with Joe Burrow, and it's another guy that Joe Burrow's familiar with. And if they do take Chase, you got 3 LSU guys that are in there that know each other. So I think it makes perfect sense for them to go after Thaddeus Moss. Yes, he did have the injury history, but I would think that now that he's gotten to pretty much sit out a whole season and he's able to come back this season, hopefully those injury things are something of the past, and maybe it was just something with him coming off of a season at LSU to have to play in all of those playoff games and have to play in a national championship. It takes a lot of wear and tear on the body, but I would hope that now I would definitely bring him in and sign him. I mean, hopefully they say it tomorrow that he signed. I would think that you would want to get him in there as soon as possible. So I think if it's possible, I'm not sure if he was waived or how that works, whether you can put a claim in on him, but I would definitely try to claim him and get him on this roster ASAP.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I was honestly hoping maybe we'd take him 6th, 7th round last year because I was a huge fan of him.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that were, bro. A lot of people definitely wanted us to take him. I was honestly shocked that he went undrafted for sure.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, I would love to have him in there because I mean, why not? It's not like I feel like honestly, just candidly speaking, I love CJ Uzoma. I love what he's done with us and everything. But if I'm just being real and I'm looking around at the other 32 NFL teams from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, we probably have the worst tight end core in the league, essentially. So for me, it's not a shot at anyone. It's just a position that I want to add some more security to because outside of this year, we don't really have anything there except Drew Sample.
Yeah.
You got any other questions or another question or not?
Nah, that was it. Because you said you wanted to keep it short, so I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Nah, all good, Carson. We appreciate that. You take care, brother, and who dey?
Hey, who dey, man?
All right. Thanks to my man Carson for coming out. Truly appreciate that. The link is down there if you guys do want to jump on. You can also ask the question in the comments if you want to as well. But it just makes it a better experience when you guys come on. I also want to involve you guys in this process, especially with you guys supporting me. So I truly appreciate that. Let's go through. I'm going to come through some more of here. Oh, we got somebody backstage. My man Josh is about to join us. Josh, what's going on, bro?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good, brother. Where you from?
I'm in Cincinnati. I live in Delhi.
Yes, sir. Straight out the Natty. That's what's up. First thing I got to ask you, though, how did you become a Bengals fan?
Man, I've been a Bengals fan my whole life. I started watching the Bengals when I was a little kid with my dad, and it was Chad Johnson for us, man. He was the big name in the league when we were watching all the games. So yeah, that's where we got started, and I've been a fan ever since.
Nah, that's dope, bro. Chad is the GOAT. He's definitely a legend for sure. He brought a lot of people to Cincinnati for sure.
Yeah. So I had 2 questions. My first question was in reference to him because I know he just made a visit. I was wondering if you had any ideas on what he was doing. Do you think he was like promoting the new jerseys, or what do you think he was doing while he was here?
Well, I don't have any hard evidence on what exactly he was doing. I would think that it may have something to do with the jersey release. I think there's something cool with the social media plans that they have for us with this release and just with the Ring of Honor and everything. I think there's countless things that he could have been there to actually do, but I think that is probably jersey related somehow. Yeah. I think that it is in some form or fashion is part of that. And I think it's also going to be a part of possibly like telling his story or just being excited about the team. Because when you really look on social media, he's been very active with the team. more so than recent years, really. And I think that that's great to have a elder statesman like Chad representing us, because Chad is responsible for a lot of Bengals fans, bro. You talk about like just generations. Like Chad was like my generation. That was like my first introduction to the Bengals. He was the guy. And whenever originally I'm from Cincy as well, but I came down to Florida for college. And when I came down there, like no one knew any player on the Bengals except Chad Johnson. You got some people that maybe said Carson Palmer, but it was always Chad. It was like, oh, Chad's funny. I'm always watching because he's going to put on the show. And the fact that he was just a baller. So I definitely think that it has something to do with the social media team for sure. And probably something with the jerseys and maybe even some more stuff. I mean, it would be dope. I know that they also had him do the schedule release. So they may have been bringing him back to do something special with that as well. So I think the possibilities are endless, but I think it's going to be a dope thing for sure. I can't wait to see it.
Right, me too. Yeah, I saw that he was joining. He's like, yeah, I'm coming back to play. I'm like, you're like what, over 40 years old? I don't know about that, but
he could be a kicker though. He could be a kicker. We could get Pepe out there to be a kicker. I'd be down for it.
Cool. And my second question was, now I'm not a medical expert, and I'm pretty sure you're not either, but when it comes to Joe Burrow, I know that a lot of QBs have had leg injuries, but Joe's was pretty severe in comparison to most other injuries that I've seen from players in the NFL, aside from Alex Smith, of course. But I'm just wondering, do you think that this is an injury that he can really come back and be 100% from? I don't know. I haven't seen an injury like that in a while, and I don't have full confidence that he can come back and be what he was, at least not right away.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that I like that kind of tickles myself is I always do the hashtag I'm not a doctor kind of thing. I usually delay the Pro Football Doc on that. He's a great follow. Anything that he says, I pretty much go by because I never went to medical school. I never was a sports trainer or anything like that. Everyone's body is different. But I think you bring up a valid point. I think some people are just thinking that it's a far-gone conclusion that he's just going to come in week one. Everything's going to be fine. And we've seen from all indications, which I think we're going off of timelines from doctors. I think that's where they're getting the timelines from. They're saying that he's making good progress. But I will say, like you asked, do I think that he's capable? Oh, yeah. I think Joe Burrow is just built different mentally. And me personally, I never went through anything as grueling as ACL or knee injury. Thank God I've never had to go through that. But I did actually tear I think a muscle in my leg. Not when I tried to run the 40. This was before that. It was actually during some boxing. And the biggest part about rehab is the mental part of it, because I think when you have injuries like that, you forget about the will that it takes to rehab yourself. And it's really like working out. It's really like a workout. So you have to be mentally fit and dedicated to going in, day out to get the progress and the results that you want. And I think we all know how Joe Burrow is built, and there's no one who wants to get back on that field faster or to that field faster than Joe Burrow. I mean, we saw the week after he had the injury, he was like, watching football sucks. And that's the mindset that I think he needed to have to be a guy that could come back. And, I think if there's anyone that could do this, it's definitely Joe Burrow. I couldn't say that about a lot of other quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's not a shot at them. But you just know that this guy lives and breathes football and that he's going to do whatever it takes to get back there, because you got to think about it. He was really ascending. And honestly, in my opinion, I felt like he was going to run away and go and take that Rookie of the Year trophy. And it just, he was even excited. I think he said that too. Normally teams against the Washington football team didn't get that many passing yards, and they already had a whole gang of passing yards in the first half. And I think he's just willing to want to get back and start getting some wins and just keep doing what Joe Burrow did. It was exciting to watch, bro. Like when I look and saw people like LeBron James were tweeting about Joe Burrow, it's insane. It's like everyone has his eyes on Joe Burrow. So I think, the NFL is just a better place when you have those stars there. And Joe Burrow was a bright young star. And I do hope that he does bounce back from this injury. But at the same time, I'm trying to be realistic like you. There's probably going to be some settling in. And one thing that I'll bring up is remember when Geno Atkins ended up tearing his knee, and the next season people were like, "Oh, that doesn't look like Geno." It was because he kind of had to, get used to it for a while, and then the next season he was back. So I'm not saying that Joe was going to slump or anything, but I'm just saying like, hey guys, let's remember he did tear his knee, and this is something that he's going to have to get comfortable with, and he's going to have to trust the knee and stuff like that. So I think from my end, I think he can do it, but I think that we need to calm the expectations that he's just going to be out there, OTAs or any of that stuff. I think we just need to make sure that we put him in the best position. Don't rush him back. Even if it means that he has to miss the first couple of weeks, I'm willing to do that because it's Joey B, man. I'm not gonna rush him out there and set him up again for something where he's not comfortable. So I'm with you on that.
Awesome, man. Yeah, you brought up a good point. Like if anybody's gonna come back from something like that and be good, it's Joe Burrow for sure.
Yeah, it's Joey B for sure.
Real quick side note before I get out of here. I am the Josh who derailed the AFC North talk when I said that Joe Burrow was arguably the second best in the AFC North. So that was me.
No, brother. No, bro. Hey, it's good to put a name with the face, bro. I'm glad that you did because I felt like that. Honestly, like I was feeling so good. You saw me. Like I was even saying he's possibly could become the best quarterback in the AFC North that season. I mean, he was outplaying those guys during that stretch. And then obviously he had the injury because the other thing you have to think about is because people were like, well, how could you say that Lamar was MVP? Early on in that season, he was not playing like an MVP. Lamar was playing horrible. The offense wasn't good. We were sitting there saying, what's wrong with Lamar? Is something? Is it an injury or whatever it is? And so when I look at it through that scope, and I look at seeing Baker Mayfield, who was playing better, but he was only averaging 150 yards a game. Yeah. And then I look at Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, I mean he was all right. They were winning, but it wasn't really because of Ben. And so for me, it was like if you put Joe Burrow on any of those teams. He's got like the least amount of talent, probably I'm not trying to take a shot at the coaching staff, but he didn't have a coaching staff like, a Tomlin or a Harbaugh. He didn't have that. And he didn't have an offensive line like the Browns did. And yet he was leading the AFC in passing yardage and was just balling out. So, I mean, for me, I'm not even mad that you derailed the show. I'm glad that you did because it needed to be said because I think the Ravens, once they beat us, because they blitzed us so much, they didn't look at the other games. They were like, "Oh yeah, Joe Burrow's not all that." And it's like, no, Joe Burrow was a dog. Yeah. He was a dog that year. So
right, cool, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Nah, appreciate it, Josh. Who there, brother?
Yeah, who there? Bye.
All right, that was Josh. We got another one backstage. My man Jay Dreamer. Jay, what's going on, bro?
What's good? What's good?
Chilling, bro.
Yo, what's up?
Nah, chilling. So first you gotta let us know where you're from.
Cool, calm. So I'm from Jersey originally, but right now I'm staying. I'm not staying on vacation in Florida.
Oh, that's what's up. What part of Florida you in?
I'm in Fort Myers.
Okay, that's what's up. So South Florida then.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you in my neck of the woods. I'm down in Orlando. I'm not in South Florida, so Central, but I still know where you at.
Got you.
Facts. So you from Jersey? That's what's up. So what brought you to the Bengals?
Bro, when I was young, like I see like my hometown, they're the Tigers. And I seen the Bengals play on TV and I was like, oh, like that reminds you of like Linden. So I'm gonna be a Bengals fan. And ever since then, like I was diehard. Even though it made no sense. Like it was like because like a lot of Giants and Jets fans. I'm like, bro, like those guys suck, bro. I'm a Bengals fan.
Right. Nah, that's what's up, bro. That's what it's crazy because my favorite animal, like way before I was a Bengals fan, was always a tiger. Like it was just written for sure. For sure. That's what's up, bro. I got a lot of love and respect for Jersey though as well. That's what's up. What you got for me?
Bro. So like Civil War, we pick it at 5, right? Like obviously I'm leaning towards a single size chase. But like are you one of those people that's like, bro, like whoever we pick at 5 is cool? Or do you think it's like, bro, if we don't pick the right person, like we're screwed? Like what do you think?
I think like if we were in a situation that was different from this draft, like say for instance, like it wasn't clear that at least three quarterbacks were going to go before us, then I would be anxious. I don't think so with this class. Like just because I'm seeing Sewell doesn't mean I hate Chase. Like Chase is cool. I'm good with them either way. Just for me, like when I look at it, Sewell to me is a generational lineman. And when you really sit down and think about it, bro, and this is why it's so silly to me, I don't know if it's that people wanted to make articles or clickbait stuff. Literally nothing changed from when they said Sewell was a generational can't miss prospect. He's one of the best prospects in this class until now. You heard the whole stuff about them bringing up the other tackle, I think, from Kansas State. You know, that guy didn't play last season either. So, like, I can't really say, like, there was literally nothing that changed from then until now. And it's like, oh, well, because this guy blocked Chase Young, he's better than Penei Sewell. And I just didn't see it because to me, when a lot of people say, you know, people throw the term generational around, and I get that argument, right? To me, what generational means is that it's someone that has rare traits and ability. So for me, when you talk about Sewell, he's a guy that has rare size and speed for that size. When you talk about somebody that's 6'4", 6'5", 331 that can move that fast, like move as fast as he can, like Mekhi Becton, just to put it in perspective, he ran faster than Mekhi Becton, who is a super athletic guy, like not as athletic as Tristan Wirfs, who blew the combine away. But you got to think about it. Mekhi Becton is like 305, 310. Like he's a whole nother 20 pounds heavier than that dude. So you not only have that, this kid also won the Outland Trophy at what, 19 years old? Like, come on, bro. Like that's not normal. That's not normal. And that's not to say that's not to take anything away from Chase, because Chase isn't normal either. I'm not saying that Chase isn't, but both of them, when you talk about just the prospects, there's no difference, bro. They're both elite prospects.
Bro, that's what makes it hard, bro.
That's what makes it hard. But like, I'm not mad if like they say, okay, let me go ahead and get Chase. My thing is just this: if you do that, you better pick the right guy in the second round, and that's in the third round. Yeah. Like for me, it's like I trust them at receiver. You know, I got my T. Higgins jersey right here. Yeah. You know, I had, you know, we talk about Mosanu, AJ Green. They don't have a problem picking receivers. Like they never really have. Like you could say John Ross, but that was something out of the norm that they generally do. And I don't blame them for that. Like dude ran a 4.22. I'm not mad at it, but let's not act like they're just bad at picking receivers in later rounds. You talk about Auden Tate, who's a starting receiver. They got him in the 7th round. True. So that's just the only thing that scares me is when you look at what they've done at the offensive line position, they have not been good at waiting in those later rounds or even the first round per se and evaluating and picking the right lineman. So I want to trust Frank Pollock. Like I think that I try to be more realistic. I think Jim Turner was so bad. People were just like, Frank Pollock is way better than him and this and that. And I'm not mad at Frank Pollock. But you can't tell me that Frank Pollock is better than Bill Callahan, who went to the Browns or something like that and just picked all of those linemen. And you got to remember, too, he was the one that drafted Billy Price. So that's the only thing. Like now maybe he also, a lot of people forget this, too. He also was the person that signed Bobby Hart. Like a lot of people are forgetting all of these things. And so like for me, I just worry about the history that they've shown. And then the other thing is, I know that this draft has a lot of linemen. I know that. Like they also have a lot of receivers as well, right? I know that we need one specific receiver, but the thing about the linemen is this: we all know Penei is number 1. They think Slater is number 2. I've seen people that say like they talk to NFL GMs and they think Slater is a guard. So if Slater per se, if teams are viewing him as a guard and not a tackle, then who's the third tackle? Nobody can say. You can say Darrisaw. You could say Leather. It might be Leatherwood. So people that are like, oh, Leatherwood's just going to be there in the second round. Nah, bro. I don't think you can really say that. Like the only locks that I could say are Penei and Slater. And if Slater isn't viewed as a tackle, then who are the next guys? Is it Cosme? Is it this and that? And if you're waiting until the second round to get that guy, everybody in the world knows that we're going lineman in the second round. If you pick Chase in the first, everyone knows that you're going to pick a lineman in the second round. Here's the third thing, and I'm giving away a lot of the stuff that I was going to say on Civil War, but it is what it is. The other thing is this. Okay, I pick, say for instance, I can get a guard in the second round. Cool, that's fine. What happens if Jonah Williams gets hurt again, which I'm not trying to be I'm not a fear-based person. I'm just realistic. 2 years in a row, Jonah hasn't finished like the season. So, like, for me, you have the same line minus a Bobby Hart, right? You took Bobby Hart out. Bobby Hart on the low didn't have a bad season last year. He wasn't the worst lineman on the line. Your issue was at the guard position. And I hear a lot of people saying we got Quentin Spain and Suafilo. That's not enough for me, bro. We need 2 guards. We need 2 starting guards, in my opinion. You might be able to get away with him, but, you know, you added Riley Reef. If Jonah's hurt, can you really take that second round guard and plug him in at left tackle? I don't think you can. You're back to Fred Johnson at left tackle or Hakeem Adeniji, and that's just the only issue for me is that second round guy has to be a hit. If it's Leatherwood, I'm good with that because Leatherwood can play guard and he can move out the tackle. Go ahead,
bro. Sorry, my brother's in my room. He's wilding. So, like, I understand that, bro, and like I somewhat agree, but I was thinking about this, bro. So, I'm like I said, bro, I'm in Florida, right? And I'm walking around, and I had the AJ jersey on. This guy's like, "Who they?" Like, yo, what the hell? This is a Bengals fan, bro.
There's a lot of Bengals fans down here, bro.
I was like, yo, what's up, what's up? And then I asked him to chase Sewell, bro. He said, Chase, like, why? He said, bro, best young receiving corner in the NFL. I'm
gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there. How many years have we said that in a row, bro? Like, I caught myself saying it. We said that going into last year. Best receiving core in the NFL.
Bro, I understand, but this is a difference, bro. Because that boy
AJ is different.
But it's different. You know why it's different, bro?
Why is it different?
Because look, that boy T. Higgins, right?
Right.
Hamstring. That's nothing, bro. Stretch that out, you calm, right?
Right.
That boy Tyler is a tank. He doesn't get hurt.
Right.
Lamar, the 3 things they have in common is that they're young, bro. They're not AJ Green missing out 2.
Auden Tate young too, though.
Huh?
Auden Tate is young too, though.
That's what I'm saying, bro. All right, cool. Breather, yo. You goal got to fade. Hey, get off me. That's 7. Right. Give me that. You see what I'm saying, bro? Right. And I was like, bro, kill, bro. Like, what are you? Sorry.
Nah, you good.
Bro, I'm coming like, bro. We just need an average, bro. I know this is not like ideal, but bro, if we have those 3 weapons on the outside with Joe Mixon backfield, right? An average line will do, bro. We don't need this all pro.
I'm with you. Our line isn't average though.
I know, but if we can creep back, bro, if we can creep out with Riley Reef, which is average linemen don't get, 30 PFF scores, bro. They're 60, 70, bro. I'm cool with that, bro. Quentin Spain is a better guard than we showed last year, bro. We know that. Right. That boy, Billy Price, is iffy, but I'm an optimistic person, bro. I had glasses.
But see, you got to think about this. Trey Hopkins tore his ACL towards the end of the season, so Billy Price probably is in there.
Yeah, he's starting, but like the reason I'm optimistic about that, bro, is that like you have a job, right, bro? Mm-hmm. When you have a bad boss, you do not want to go to work, and you do not put your best work for it, bro. When he's breathing down your neck, when he's on he's meat rotting, bro. Like, yo, shut the freak up, bro. You want to throw the paper at him, bro. Imagine Billy Price, bro, coming to work every day with that boy Jim Turner, bro.
Right.
Worst line in the league, and this guy is dick running, bro. No, bro. Right. You got Frank Pop, bro. I've never seen players react to a coaching hire, bro. Had two of the same. Yo, let's go. Got Joe Burrow, like, yo, Joe Mixon hit me up. Let's go. Like, feel me, bro. So,
no, I feel you. Like, don't get it twisted. I already know, like, bringing Jamar Chase in would do wonders for sure. But they got to get the line right. They got to get the line right, though, because if they don't get it right, everybody's assuming that they're going to get it right. But you got to remember, this has been a problem not since last year. Like, I think a lot of people are thinking I just jumped on this last year. I've been saying this since 2017, bro. 2017, 2016, like since then. So I hope that they do it right. Like, if you do take Chase, it's going to put so much pressure on them for sure to sign a Trey Turner, to get a rookie in there, to do whatever they got to do. I'm good with that. I'm good with them having all 3. But look at the Cowboys last year. They went in. This was a team that used to have a strong line, right? They got CD. They got Amari Cooper. That was who we were talking about when we were debating. We were like the Bengals or them, right? Look at what happened. They had all of the weapons. Now, Dak did get hurt, But when Andy Dalton was in there, it was still ugly. It was still ugly for him. And so the hope for me is I'm not mad if they do get Chase. I'm not mad if they take Pitts because I think, honestly, Pitts will help a lot too because then you can't blitz linebackers every single play against us. But the thing that you also have to think about is this is a division with some good corners. There's some very elite corners in this division. Denzel Ward, Marlon Humphrey. So just know if we do go Chase, he's probably not going to go bananas on a Denzel Ward or anybody like that. He's going to free up those other guys. But I think we always think every time. I caught myself a couple of times when we drafted John Ross. I'm like, who in the NFL is going to guard us? We got Mixon. We got Ross. We got Tyler Boyd. We got AJ Green. We got Tyler Eifert. Like, who's stopping that? Like, nobody's stopping that. That was the first thing I tweeted. Nobody's stopping that. All right. Andy Dalton gets sacked 40, 50 times. Offense doesn't do anything. I go into the next year. Oh, we just got turned up. We got Tyler Boyd. We got T. Higgins. We got all of these dudes. Who's going to stop us? Same thing, bro. Same thing. So hopefully, I think if they take Chase, you got to sign Trey Turner like immediately, like right after the draft. Give me a rookie too. Get the line as good as you can get it. I think Frank Pollock is definitely going to help a lot. But you got to remember, too, when Frank Pollock was here, he had Clint Bowling at guard, who was a top guard in the league. So I'm more so worried about the guard positions, more so than really tackle. Even though Riley Reef is just like a Band-Aid, I'm still cool with it. But, yeah, to bring it all the way back, I understand what people are realizing. I think Chase, Higgins, and Boyd is nasty. But it's even nastier if Joe Burrow is upright. If we really believe in Joe Burrow, you got to believe that Joe Burrow can make anybody elite. Not saying that he going to make Mike Thomas, Jamar Chase, but if I give Joe Burrow some time, bro, he might be able to throw for 4,000 or 5,000 yards, and that would be without Chase. And I could easily say that because for me, there's quarterbacks, and one that always comes to mind for me is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers will give you 500 with Keenan Allen being on the sideline and Desmond Aruchu or whatever that dude's name is hitting you up the whole game. You like, how is this happening? And I think that Joe Burrow can bring that if he has time. But I'm not mad if they get Chase because it's going to be a good problem to have. But it's also going to be the same issue we had when we had AJ, Mosanu, and Marvin. You can only keep one, maybe two. So that could mean that Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins, which you got to remember, you signed T. Higgins for 4 years since he was drafted in the second round. That means his contract is coming. So when Chase's contract is done, that could mean that you're saying bye to Tyler Boyd. That's the only other dilemma too.
All right. That actually means another question, bro. It's real quick. This might be a dumb question, bro, but like I've really been paying attention to past stuff. When Joe Burrow contract comes, bro, are we paying him the bag, bro? Are we being dumb?
Gotta pay him the bag,
bro.
You gotta pay Joe the bag.
I'll raise funds, bro. I don't care, bro. I'll do what I gotta do, bro.
Facts,
bro. Because that's my biggest fear, bro. If I wake up one day, bro, and I see Joe Burrow's traded or let go by the bank,
nah, they're not gonna trade Joe. Nah, so that's gonna be the situation where you get to, because you gotta remember, if you go with 3 receivers, you got to pay all 3. You're going to have to pay them close to $20 million a year by that point. So it's an expensive position to pay. And in the quarterback position, you're going to have to pay. But you got to get the quarterback no matter what. I don't care if you had no receivers. You got to extend the quarterback first and foremost. You can always, and I'm not trying to say receiver is expendable, but you can always draft another one the next year and the year after that. You can still find you a good receiver if they don't take Chase this round. And the next draft, I mean, there's going to be guys. There's always receivers for days for sure. So, but they got to pay Joe. I don't think that they get by without paying Joe. Joe is the future, bro. Anybody else can get cut when it comes to lining up Joe, because we've seen what it's like to not have a quarterback and have all of the weapons. And we knew that Andy Dalton couldn't take us to that next level that we needed to be to. So it all begins and ends with me with Joe. They gotta, and that extension is probably going to happen around year 4. Most of the guys are trying to do it now.
You think they'll like realistically? You think they'll do it, bro, or
Oh, they gotta do it. They did it with Carson Palmer.
calm?
They even did it with Andy Dalton. Like they gave Andy Dalton the bag.
Wait. So sorry, because I was very young when this happened. Like, why did Carson Palmer leave, bro? Like, why?
Okay. So we're gonna rehash. I'll try to put it in a digestible amount. Essentially, what happened with Carson is he kind of got tired that like he didn't get the same treatment as other quarterbacks. Like they had a say in going out and moving on from guys, getting certain coaches and stuff like that. And as you know, like the Bengals, we don't really roll like that. Like it's like we already gave you your contract, honor your contract. You're not gonna be the GM for us. So essentially, they had a disagreement. They never revealed exactly what the actual demands were from Carson. I think they said one of them was, I think Carson wanted them to build an indoor facility. He even was going to give money. I think that's what they say. I don't know if it's facts or not. They said that he was going to give some of his money to get it done. He wanted other players to be brought in. See, like this is what Carson said too recently. The Bengals, sometimes they don't really trade up, or they're not super aggressive. They kind of wait and pray for a certain player to fall to them. And this is why I tell y'all got to be careful with waiting to the second round, because they're not going to trade up into the first round. If like, say Leatherwood's there, right? They're not going to move back up into the first round. They're going to take the chance to see if he falls back down. And Carson said, like, you can't just be sitting there waiting for a guy in the draft to fall through to you. You got to be aggressive and go after him. So like with Carson, that's what his issues were. And once he saw that they weren't really budging, he just essentially was like, all right, well, I'm not playing. Like once he saw that he felt like things were going to remain the same, which there was a lot of drama the last year he was there, he was just like, you know what, I'm done. But for me, like, you're the leader of the team. I can't respect you quitting on a team like that. It's cool to have your things and stuff like that, but that's why he really rubbed a lot of the fans the wrong way, because he just quit. And it's like, if you're a quarterback, you're a leader. Like, imagine if Joe Burrow was just like, I'm done right now. Like, that's just not good. It just doesn't set a good precedent. Like, there were guys like Chad. He had said on I'm Athlete, he requested a trade. It didn't happen. That didn't like make him retire from football or anything like that. So that's what the Carson Palmer situation kind of was, but that was a different era, bro. Like after the Carson situation, a lot of things have changed, especially from ownership. As you just saw, like these past 2 years, they're going out and they're spending money on free agents. These were things that weren't happening back then. And ever since Katie Blackburn and Elizabeth Blackburn have taken over, it's been a lot of more forward thinking and a lot of more changes from the Bengals in that regard. But that's really what it was really about. Was Carson was just upset because he didn't get the pull that an Aaron Rodgers would have or a Peyton Manning would have to say, hey, go sign this guy or go sign that guy. Obviously, the Bengals have changed that, because you just saw Joe Burrow was like, yeah, let's make Galladay a real offer, and they did it. So, I think that's just really what it resulted from. And Mike Brown isn't going to be a dude that's going to be moved like that. And when Carson put his feet in the sand, Mike Brown was like, all right, cool. That's a bet. We'll just draft Andy Dalton, and then we'll trade you later for 2 first-round draft picks that end up being Giovanni Bernard and Drake Kirkpatrick. And that's what happened. So it just was what it was. And, hopefully one day, I think one day maybe things will smooth over. I think we saw it a little bit with the Chad and the Carson thing, because just to be real, Carson was one of the best quarterbacks we ever had here. Like I'd go as far as to say he was better than. It's not even a debate for me whether he was better than Andy Dalton. If you're just talking about straight skill, Andy Dalton did a lot of things and won a lot more than Carson. But when you're talking about just quarterback for quarterback, Carson was better. And Joe is the best quarterback that we probably had since Carson in the modern era. I'm not disrespecting Ken Anderson or any of those guys, because Ken Anderson was an MVP. He's probably the best quarterback we ever had. A lot of people sleep on Jeff Blake too, Pro Bowl quarterback. So the Bengals have had a lot of good quarterbacks, and Carson Palmer definitely was one of them.
Copy, bro. All right, bro. Appreciate you having me on, bro.
All right, appreciate it, bro. All right, that was my man Jay Dreamer. I got a super chat here from my man Aaron Shockley, and then I got my guy Raw Sports Media that I'm going to get to in the back. Aaron says, and appreciate you, Aaron. I appreciate that, bro. That support definitely helps. Do you think there's a chance that the Falcons could steal Panay, or do you think that they are more likely to take Chase? I actually did a video on this. I brought a gentleman over from the Falcoholic. He said that the Falcons may look at Panay, but they're really looking at a quarterback, and they're really looking at the future of what they have there. And I don't think he said that he doesn't think that they're going to take Chase. He said if you put a gun to his head to make a decision, he said it's either a quarterback, Trey Lance, he said, or it would be Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is just another guy that would just do wonders for them. So yeah, it's a chance. There's always a chance. You never know what teams are going to do. But I think with all of the quarterbacks in Atlanta, with the situation that they're in, why not go quarterback at that point? Because you're going to get one of the top 4 in the draft, and you still got to have a plan for after Matt Ryan, who is 36 years old, by the way. You got to have a plan for that. I got another super chat here. Didn't forget you, Robert Stevens. Appreciate that. He actually sent this in. What's the news on Trey Turner? And if we go Sewell in the first, who are the receivers you'd want in the later rounds? I have no idea what's going on with Trey Turner. I think for now they're probably waiting until the draft happens to see how the smoke clears. I haven't talked to any sources or anything on that. I think that that's just what they're doing. They want to see what it's going to look like after the draft. It could also be an instance where they don't want to pay him too much and have to give up a compensatory pick for him. Or it might be that they like the guys that they have. But me, I would sign Trey Turner. If you ask me to sign Trey Turner tomorrow, I'm definitely signing him. That's for sure. If we do go Sewell in the first, who are receivers that I want in the later rounds? Kadarius Toney, bro. It's that easy for me. Like, dude from Florida, like we talk about having speed and stuff like that. When you talk about wanting somebody to take the top off of the defense, that's Kadarius Toney. That's Jalen Waddle. It's also Jamar Chase as well. But those guys do it in a different kind of form, I think, more than Chase would. Chase is more of a complete receiver. He can do it all. I think those guys are just like straight up burners. They're just going to destroy you with any kind of play that may be a gimmick play or just straight line speed. So for me, I say Kadarius Toney, which is crazy because about a month or two ago, they were saying that he's probably going in the first round. Now I'm not hearing it so much, which makes me think that he's probably going to be there in the second round. So if you could tell me, if you told me that I could get Sewell and Kadarius Toney, sign me up for that all day, every day. And with that, I'm going to bring my man Roar Sports in. Rory, what's going on, bro?
No much, man. I appreciate you having me, coming on the show. I've been a fan for a long time, since I think around 2017. Your first video I ever saw was the funeral for Marvin Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm from way back then. I think I was like, I want to say in the first couple hundred subscribers.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah. I've been here for a while. Yeah, dude. So I'm Team Sewell. First of all, fellow Islander. Kind of want to see that in stripes. I'm not gonna lie. I want that jersey so bad.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah. So I know like it's a big thing in like the Chase versus Sewell thing, but outside of wide receiver and offensive line, what do you think is our next biggest need? For me, like for me, wide receivers, it's not really like a giant need for us. We do need fast receivers, but for me, like it's defensive line and tight end. Like, yeah, I just don't think wide receiver is such a pressing need that everyone's saying it is. For me personally,
I'm with you, bro. That was the first thing that I said, and people killed me for it. And it was like when I look at the offensive line, right? I don't have the equivalent. Well, probably now I might at the tackle. I don't have the equivalent though of a Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins blanket there. Like whether if we address it or not, I'm still good. Like I might not have that fast receiver, or I might not have, that Jamar Chase type talent, but I'm still good. I know that I got two guys that if Joe Burrow had played would have had 1,000 yards. Like one thing that's crazy to me too is think about the last time there were 3 1,000-yard receivers. It's not common. Like even with the Cowboys last season, they still didn't do it. They had CeeDee Lamb, they had Amari Cooper, they had Michael Gallup. They still didn't do it. I think the last time that it was done, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can check me in the comments and correct me, but I think it was Peyton Manning, like way back in the day. Like that was the last time for me, and I just don't get it, bro. T. Higgins was a stud last year. Tyler Boyd is a stud. I think, like you said, I'm more comfortable with that position than say tight end. Like Tight end is a huge question mark, and people are just chalking it up to, oh yeah, CJ Uzomah is just going to come back off of tearing his Achilles.
I am starting to like Sample a little more, but he seems a little bit slow to me. Like that's it. I mean, he seems very possession. I mean that sick one-handed catch he had versus the Browns, I think that was a dope catch, and I think he's going to progress more. But like no one loved Drew Sample in the second round when they drafted him. Like that was not a thing. I mean, wide receiver, you're right. We would have had 2 1,000-yard wide receivers in Higgins and Boyd, and that's with, AJ, being on a down year. And I was like, why do people hate
John Ross?
Exactly. Why do people hate Auden Tate so much? I mean, in 2019, he had the same amount of yards and receptions as Green did this year. Like to me, that's a wide receiver.
Nobody started hating Auden Tate until the possibility of getting
Jamar Chase. Right.
It was always, why doesn't Auden Tate play more? They better not cut Tate. Remember when they cut him that one time?
That was a big narrative last year.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about tight end, and obviously I'm not the biggest Drew Sample fan, but just keeping it real, he got his audition last season to show you if there was anything there. There wasn't a Uzomah there to slow him down from week 3 all the way into the end of the season. And what did that net you? 1 touchdown throughout the whole season. Yeah. And I'm not saying that he can't take another step. And he's not the only tight end that I haven't been high on. I wasn't high on Tyler Kroft like that. There's a lot of guys that I wasn't high on, but when you think about an actual defense, and you think about the Ravens, and this is why I love doing AFC North talk. You think about the Browns. Do you think that those guys are really like, oh, we got a game plan for Drew Sample? No, they are not thinking that. They're not losing sleep over Drew Sample, bro. Like that's just what it is. They're going to be focused on, if we do draft Chase, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And those are going to be the guys that they focus on. Joe Mixon, obviously, as well. But the tight end position, there's so much uncertainty there. Uzomah's heading into the last year of his career. I mean, last year of his potentially his contract. Yeah. And so you don't have anything set up for him afterwards, which scares me because tight end is a huge position in the NFL. We have the worst tight end core, in my opinion, in the league. And I'm going to keep saying that until something changes. And then you also look at, like you said, the defensive line. Like there's still some needs there. You talk about Geno Atkins leaving. And yes, you have Larry Ogunjobi, who I love, but he's only here on a 1-year deal. If Larry Ogunjobi decides, hey, I just had a great year and I'm going somewhere to get some more money, you don't have anything there at defensive tackle. So outside of DJ Reader, so you got to get something there. Obviously, that position was decimated last season. And then you also talk about the defensive ends. I love Khalid Kareem. I hope that he takes the next step next season. And I think that he can, right? But you still have to look at some of those other guys there and decide whether or not you need to add an edge rusher. I'm personally not a huge fan of this edge rushing class. I don't think that there's a guy there that's going to give you more than Khalid Kareem and some of the guys that we already have. There's nobody that you can say, this is Chase Young, I'm plugging him in, he's going to get 10 sacks this season and be an all-pro. There's none of those guys there, but it's still more of a need to me, like you're saying, than the wide receiver position. I'd even argue linebacker, bro. And, I like some of our linebackers, but there's nobody there that makes you say, okay, who's coming in and taking Josh Bond snaps, who I wasn't a huge fan of either, that's going to make that impact. We haven't had a linebacker since Tez, in my opinion. Like, there's never been an elite linebacker since then since him. So, there's a lot of other positions that I think people aren't even – and I think I said this too. I said kicker is a bigger need, and people looked at me like I was crazy, but it really is. Like, you don't want Austin Seibert kicking field goals. If you thought Randy Bullock was bad, wait till you get a hold of Austin Seibert. Go ahead, Roy.
Yeah, so one thing, like Joe Burrow was a passing leader like right before he went down. Like he was up there in the top 5. Like our wide receiver core was not bad. Like our run game was not good. Our offensive line was not good. We had like 17 sacks, I think. No, wait. I think that we allowed 48 sacks last year and only had 17 as a team.
Joe Burrow was sacked 30 times. He was sacked 30 times when he went down, and the season wasn't even over. Like, he was on pace to get hit, and that's not even counting for hits. Because when a lot of people were like, oh, well, sacks are the only thing, he was getting hit on plays.
He was getting pressured.
Exactly. And he was hit, if I'm not mistaken, I think combined with the sacks, it was like 70 hits. He was on pace to get hit like 100 times. You just can't have that happen, man.
I just don't want an Andrew Luck situation to happen in Cincy. That's my only thing. It's like, yes, I would love a Jamar Chase. I would love a Kyle Pitts. But this team has shown that we can't draft linemen. For some reason, we miss. I mean, people want to say Frank Pollock, but he drafted Billy Price.
Right.
Right.
And he signed Bobby Hart.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's like if he made Billy Price, because everyone's like, look how good Billy Price was. He had a 66 overall grade and then went down to 23, 24. If he's capable of making a Billy Price that's shown without him, it's like a 24, 25 rated guard. And then when he has him, he's a 66. Is 66 his potential? Because, I mean, I want to see a Penei Sewell, who is like a higher rated player. Right. And then what can Frank Pollock do with that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to give him a diamond.
At the end of the day, a lot of people think that it's just coaching. It's not just coaching. It's a lot of the players too. It's like some guys are just good. Some guys are just talented. It doesn't matter who's coaching Willie Anderson. It's Willie Anderson. It doesn't matter who's coaching Andrew Whitworth. It's Andrew Whitworth. Like at the end of the day, some of those guys are just as talented. And, I'm not going to say that Billy Price, he can't get something out of Billy Price. I'd love to see it. But what you're signing yourself up for with saying, I'm going to take Chase is you could potentially end up in a Frank Ragnow situation. They wanted Frank Ragnow. God. They settled for Billy Price because a team took him right before the Bengals were able to. And let's say, for instance, the same thing happens with Leatherwood. Everybody's going to think the Bengals are going to take Leatherwood. So you don't think that somebody like the Chargers or even your division rival like the Ravens are going to jump up in front of you and take them? Do you remember what happened when the Bengals needed a linebacker and the Steelers came all the way from 20 all the way into 9 to jump? Like, if you don't think that people are going to do that, I don't know what to tell you. That's the draft. And people from your own division will be like, I'm going to make sure that they don't get this guy, and we're going to be able to blitz them every single play.
Yeah, I'm an Arkansas fan too, and I know how good Frank Ragnow was. My mouth was watering thinking that we could get him. He was that good of a player. He was a dominant center, man. And and there was other really good centers and guards in that draft, like Chase Daniels that went to the Bears. He went to the rookie. What am I thinking about? All rookie team that year. Like, dude, like you could have had him.
I wanted him too, bro.
Dude, as I'm saying, Daniels was a really good prospect. I mean, of course, there's a lot of Ohio State guys and Billy Price, yada, yada. It's great. But when you looked at the players that connect each other, Daniels was just the better product to me from what I saw.
And they missed on both of them. They didn't move up to get Ragnow. They didn't take Daniels when he was on the board. Maybe they can get something out of Billy Price. I'm not going to write him off. He did have Jim Turner. But when you're comparing them to those two guys, it's like they miss guys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my only thing. I mean, I think I'm good after that, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, appreciate it, Rory. Take it easy, brother, and Huda.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, you guys have been waiting. I went a little longer, and I'm glad that I did because my man Steven just showed up. Steven, what's good, bro?
Yo, what's good?
Chilling, bro. How you doing tonight?
Nothing much, man. I got on the stream late and there was no link, so I had to go back in the video and type it in on Safaris to get in the thing.
Sorry about that, man. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
What's going on, bro?
Nothing much. I mean, I've actually been talking a little bit to Nandon, and we been talking about this prospect, Trill Williams. He's a corner. I'm pretty sure he's out of Syracuse.
Right.
He's a late round guy that I think would be very good to us. He's very physical. I mean, there's plays where he just rips the balls out of the player's hands, mid-run, and he's just a very physical, almost like a poor man's Jalen Ramsey, but not as not a number one, but more like a slot poor man number 2, Jalen Ramsey. Very good. He hits really hard. Like, he goes for hit sticks all day.
Okay. Give me a scouting report on some receivers for this draft, because they told us it's all slot guys. Is it all slot guys, or are there some guys that you could see that could fit with the Bengals? If the Bengals do go Penei, what are some guys that you could see with this team?
Is this counting all the receivers or receivers that we think will be there in the second round?
I think you got to count all receivers, because I hear people talking about, in a mock draft he went this and that. Mock drafts are right 6% of the time. There's a lot of people that don't go when they were quote unquote mocked. So I think you should leave it open for whoever's going to be there. Because if you told me last year T. Higgins was going to be there, I would have been like, nah, there's no way T. Higgins is going to be there in the second round.
So I definitely think I haven't done my research as receivers as much because I'm only really I only have receivers that I like. I've been more just I haven't really been looking into the draft as much as I usually do, but I know some guys. So there's Rashad Bateman. Obviously, I don't think he'll fall to the second round, but I think he is. I think he is more of a number one receiver, big guy, But I don't really know much about him compared to other guys, but I know he's definitely he's not a slot. I know that for sure. But uh I mean there are a lot of slot receivers, but some of them are deep threats too, which is what, we're definitely looking for. And I think the thing is I think people are leaving Auden Tate out of the equation here because I think he just refine his technique a little more. He could be a beast, to be honest with you. I mean, he mosses kids every day. I don't get why he doesn't get a few more reps than he usually does, but
Right.
we'll see how that turns out. I think he has a lot of potential. He has the raw physical ability. He just doesn't have route running and the nuances of the game, I guess you could say. So
Right.
and I think I like Elijah Moore and Rondale Moore a lot. I mean, I really my second favorite receiver in the draft besides Jamar Chase is actually Terrence Marshall.
Yes.
Big guy. Of course, I already stayed on the show. He had the connection with Joe Burrow. I mean, he even had a solid year, and he opted out halfway through the year, and he still had 6 touchdowns. So, I think I don't think he'll be there, but if he is there, and we take Penei Sewell, that's no brainer. Even if we have to trade up, I think we should.
I'd trade up to get him. Yeah,
he's
I think you hit the nail on the head. I went back and looked at Terrace Marshall. He was, I think, the fourth receiver that I watched so far outside of Chase, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Waddle. And the one thing that stuck out is his quarterback was not good. He was not Joe Burrow. But when you look at his numbers, he matched the numbers that he had in terms of receiving yards that he had with Joe Burrow in 7 games. So he had 700 some odd receiving yards. And obviously, like you said, he had 6 touchdowns, which wasn't what he had with Joe. But just think about if he would have played the entire season. He probably ends up having 1,100 yards. And he did something that I think anybody that wasn't in our situation where you have Joe Burrow wanted to see with Chase, which is, okay, what are you going to do without Joe Burrow? Can you prove that you're still a guy without Joe Burrow? And I think Terrence Marshall did that, but it doesn't apply to us because we have Joe Burrow. So for another team that might be picking between Devonta Smith and Jamar Chase, I think it's a real question. Okay, you did that with Joe Burrow, but I want to see you do that with this other guy. And I think that that's what happens when you see a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. It doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball, right? Of course, Kyler Murray is amazing and stuff like that. But there were times where he had Tom Savage throwing him the ball and he was still doing this thing. And he had guys like Brian Hoyer. It didn't matter who you could have played quarterback with DeAndre Hopkins and he's going to come down with a deep pass and still pull up numbers. So I think other teams would think that. But I think Terrace Marshall, I have this weird feeling that he's going to go to Baltimore. I really feel like they took an LSU kid last year in the first round. They need a wide receiver. I have a weird feeling that if he was on the board, they would take him. And I think what also makes him more likely to get drafted is because this isn't a class that has a lot of size. They don't have a lot of 6'2", 6'3" guys. He's one of the lone guys there, and he did run the 4.38. But I would be all over him. I would take Penei. I would trade back in and get Joe Burrow, another LSU receiver for sure.
I hope we trade ahead of the Ravens, just one pick. That'd be so funny.
Let's do it. I'm with it.
Bro, I hate Patrick Queen. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I hate Patrick Queen. I'm glad that he was there with Joe Burrow. He was a great guy, but now that he's with the Ravens, he talks a lot of trash about Joe Burrow. Not happy about that at all. I was really mad about it when I found out about it. So I want another LSU guy, another Joe Burrow guy going to especially a division rival.
Right, exactly.
Grant Delpit trying to talk trash, but he's trash, so it is what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, anything you want to say before you get out, Steven? We got another guy here. My man Chase is waiting in the back.
Not really. Houday. Penei for life.
Facts. What's up, Chase? What's going on, bro?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you for being patient. What we got? Where you from, bro?
I'm from Cincinnati, obviously. I don't know if you know where Mount Healthy is.
Of course.
Inner city. So, just to start off, I'm a big fan of the show. Been watching for a year or some time now, something like that. And yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you for just showing the Bengals fans what's up.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So I know you're a big Panay guy. I seen the draft war between Jamar that you did with Zim or whatever. So here's my thing. So I'm a Jamar Chase guy. I think the Bengals should take Jamar Chase. And let me tell you why. Zim kind of hit on this earlier. I like Jamar Chase a lot better than I like the later round offensive linemen better than I like the later round receivers. Like you said, Terrace Marshall, he's probably going to go to Baltimore probably, and I don't think he's going to fall to us, there. So, I mean, but there's guys like Rondale Moore and all that and some other guys, but do we really trust, Rondale Moore or anyone else getting 100 targets in a season? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know if you do. I personally don't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because Zach Taylor already said that I'm messing up. So Jonah's going to play tackle and Riley Reif's going to play tackle. So if they draft Panay, what's going to I don't think neither of those guys are going to move, So so I don't know what you think on that.
So in general, if you were telling me that we were going to take a guard at 5, right? It has to be a generational guy.
All right.
Sewell has been called by a lot of people as generational. That's a fact. The other thing for me is guard was our worst position. So I'm not going to be mad that you're bringing in a guy like Sewell who can play left tackle. You're not going to keep him at guard, in my opinion.
Right.
You might just play him there until next year Riley Reif leaves. But guard was literally where your injury was caused from was the guard position, and that was the worst part on the offensive line. So I wouldn't be opposed to it or mad if they were just all right, we're going to plug him in at guard. I'm good with that. Even when Laramie Tunsil was taken by the Dolphins, they started him at guard, and then obviously he moved out to tackle. But, I mean, I get what you're saying when you say, you don't like what the receivers in the later rounds have to offer, and I understand that. I get it.
I'm not saying I don't like them, but I'm saying you should I'm not saying they couldn't turn in to be that, but I'm saying right away, because whoever comes in is going to be filling AJ, it's going to be that guy. So obviously Tyler Boyd and T Higgins are still going to get their targets, but then we're going to have to mix in someone else to get their targets. I don't really know.
And I think
I don't know if I trust in the later.
So for me, I think everybody's thinking that we're going to roll out the same offensive philosophy as we did last year. You got to remember that they weren't running the ball like that at all. It was 60% pass. They barely ran. They have already came out and said that they're going to run the ball more. So that means that there's going to be less targets, in my opinion. You don't want Joe Burrow throwing for 60 times a game.
No, I agree. He doesn't need to do that, because especially with a back like Joe Mixon, there's no reason why he should be doing that.
Facts. And so when we say that there's going to be 100 targets up for grabs, we don't really know that. It could be more runs for Joe Mixon. CJ Uzomah wasn't there. That's a guy who can fill in and get targets. T Higgins already had a gang of targets last year. Tyler Boyd. So you got Auden Tate. So for me, I don't limit it to just targets, because they got to run the ball more to protect Joe Burrow. They got to be able to have that play action pass work. And that was another issue for them last year, is when you go back, and I've been rewatching the games, not only was the pass blocking horrible, the run blocking was horrible too. Joe,
and we just got rid of our best run blocking back in Gio, so we ain't got that no more. So
facts. And you just gave Joe Mixon 13 million, 14 million a year. And anytime you're handing the ball off to him, he's hit in the backfield immediately.
Exactly, the second in the backfield, and he's trying to make do with little that he has, little room he's got to work with.
Right, but I'm not against taking Chase. I'm cool with Chase, but they got to get the second round, third round lineman right, because for me, I'm just not sold on what they've done. And to me, just as far as how Chase had the rare physical acumen and just the rare production for a 19-year-old, Panay is just as rare too. You're not going to go in the next year and find another Panay Sewell. And then I think a lot of people also forget, when we lost that Texans game, what was everyone saying? Everyone was like, I can't believe that we messed up on Panay. And so all I'm asking people to do is, I understand there's a separation issue. I'm not saying that it's only on the offensive line, but like just watch the first game. John Ross runs a 4.22, bro. He's quicker than anybody. Like as soon as they snapped the ball, 3 guys were like in Joe Burrow's face. So like that's the only thing that I worry about is how can we make it so that Joe has a clean pocket to throw from and that he can get the ball to a Jamar Chase. He can get the ball to a T. Higgins. He can get the ball to a Tyler Boyd. If they can make sure that that happens, then you can sign me up for it. But what I can't say is, just like you're saying, you don't trust the other guys. I don't trust them as much as everyone else is trusting them. They might be solid guys, and maybe in comparison to the guys that we have, maybe that's not bad, right? But they don't compare to Panay Sewell to me. Like they don't. Like I can't say that Alex Leatherwood is on the same level as Panay Sewell.
I agree, but like for me, and like here's another point that I have is like to me, there's no like I get it, that if we draft Panay, he's probably gonna play tackle, like even though Zach Taylor said otherwise. But like if we're to move him to guard, to me that doesn't really necessarily classify that he's like a top 5 pick. You shouldn't put a top 5 pick on a tackle and then move him to guard.
See, your value's not there. I'm with you. Anybody outside of the Bengals is not signing up Panay Sewell to play him at guard. Like they're gonna put him immediately at tackle. And I mean, sometimes the Bengals are stubborn, but for me, like I think they feel like it's an indictment on Jonah Williams. But to me, Jonah Williams isn't the prospect that Panay Sewell is. I wouldn't have any problem with moving him to right tackle and putting Panay at left, or whatever you do. Just play the man at tackle. Don't take a top 5 pick.
Me about Jamar is like, because we get Jamar, you got Jamar, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. That just opens up the offense more, because then at that point, you're picking your poison. It's who can't double team everybody. So someone's gonna, always be working against single coverage, all that.
We say that every year, bro.
But they will be though. That's what I'm trying to say. Like I'm telling you, they will be, because like I said, they're not gonna be able to double team all 3. So someone's gonna feast off of that. And Joe Burrow's quick at getting the ball out quickly, because that's what he had to adjust to last season, because he barely had any time to sit back there.
I'm with you. But what happens when you play the Ravens when they have 3 elite corners?
I get it though, but you also got to remember though, the Ravens defense is probably gonna be a lot worse next year, because they lost Yannick Ngakoue and they lost Matthew Judon. I get it. Marcus Peters and Marlon Humphrey are pretty good corners, but I think the Bengals are going to improve inside of their division next year, because a lot of the teams in the division got worse and we got significantly better. Not saying we're going to win 10 games or win the Super Bowl or anything, but I think we're going to see big improvement in those divisional games, because I was originally said in Joe Burrow's first year that first Steelers game and the first Ravens game were going to be a tough game for him, because he doesn't know what that divisional rivalry, he doesn't know what that's like yet. But once he knows what that's like, I think, because he just looked really like he just looked like agitated in that game, like he had to look like he was thinking too much at times. So I think he'll be a lot better in those situations against like the Pittsburghs. He had Cleveland on his heels the second time. The first time our defense was just selling him out. So the second time our defense sold him out too.
That's real. I will say that the Browns have gotten better.
The Browns got better, but the Ravens to me got worse. Like they lost both of their pass rushers. Adding Sammy Watkins, that to me is like, whatever.
Whatever. He's not going to play. The thing I say about the Ravens, though, is even with those guys, they weren't good at rushing the passer. Like Judon and those guys, like Yannick, I think is a good player. He just didn't fit them. And so, like, those guys didn't give anything for him. They're trying to bring in Justin Houston. So you always know the Ravens going to grab some like 30-year-old over the hill dude.
Yeah, but that's the thing. See, that's the thing that the Bengals are forever going to be at a disadvantage in this division is the coach. Like, when you got a John Harbaugh, that's proven, he can make stuff. But Zach Taylor, like, look at all the coaches in our division. Zach Taylor is by far the worst head coach in our division, and I don't even think that's really even close.
It's not even disrespectful. It's just you got
Super Bowl winning coaches in our division, that have never done that before. Yeah. So
I mean
that's going to be rough. But and that's another thing. Like you mentioned the Ravens about to sign Justin Houston, but to me, like I get it. Signing Riley Reef and everything is cool, but like me personally, I'm not really a fan of like our team going into free agency and signing like these 1-year veteran deals, because that's what I'm saying. Because like next year we're not gonna be a Super Bowl contender next year. So like I get it, if we were a contender like the Chiefs who are signing a 1-year deal, guy that can help, but like is Riley Reef gonna stay past next year?
That's what I was telling, like offline, that's what I was telling Zim. I was like, Zim, I'd feel much more comfortable if they said Riley Reef has a 2 or 3 year extension.
Exactly.
Then I'm good. Literally, like, let's just say, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Let's say he leaves next year.
Right.
You literally have the
and then
same
you have a hole
line.
again. Yeah, you have the same situation you're in.
It's the same situation again, bro. And it's like, I think for me, I think people are thinking that I'm frustrated just off of last year. This has been frustration for me since 2016, bro. Like,
and a lot of it is from last year because, like, me personally, I don't know about you, like when Joe Burrow went down with the injury, like I couldn't even like look at a picture of Joe Burrow without like feeling like sick to my stomach. Like it was weird. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I just like every single time I looked at him, I was like, even if it was like a regular picture, I was like, man, like we really did him like bad like that. Like.
The funny thing is, ironically, bro, because people were talking about Chase back then. I don't know if you were watching the stream when that happened. I got so mad. I was like, do y'all still want Jamar Chase now?
Yeah. The thing is for me is like, I'm not, trying to say the offensive line was good or anything last year because it wasn't. I'm not defending that. But to me, like, we heard everyone the whole year saying if the Bengals don't fix the offensive line, they're going to ruin Joe Burrow. That's what they kept saying the whole year. And of course, that ended up happening. I don't really think like offensive line was not good. I'm not going to say that, but I'm saying like, of course, ironically that happened, when they were saying that, you know what I'm saying? So like, I think the Bengals are going to be fine going into next year. I think Joe Burrow is going to be fine going into next year. And I mean, like I said, we're going to have to see,
Yeah, we're just going to have to trust the process, whether it's that they take Panay, like if they do take Panay, I trust them to get the wide receiver. I'm going to be worried that they're not going to get the right lineman, but I'm still going to have to I'm going to be excited about Chase, just like I was about Ross.
I was saying, like, at the end of the day, no matter who they draft, once they put on the Bengals uniform,
it don't matter. It's
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And I have one more question to ask you. So, I forgot what I was going to ask you. Damn, I forgot what I was going to ask you. I forgot the question slipped my mind. But man, I'm trying to think what I was going to ask. I just slipped my mind. But but yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll see draft night what happens or whatever. But man, I mean we're gonna have to see.
Either way, we're getting a good player, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The Bengals cannot go wrong in the position we're at because we got the Dolphins traded out. Maybe we thought the Dolphins were going to take the player that. And to me, the Bengals should go whoever they have highest on their draft board. Whoever's the highest on the draft board, take them. And don't regret the pick. Like it doesn't matter who it is. To me, if Joe Burrow's telling you to take Jamar Chase,
take him.
Take Jamar Chase. Make Joe Burrow happy. But even if he's not telling you to take Jamar Chase, take the best player who you think is going to be best fitted, for you guys. Like I said, I don't think Kyle Pitts. I think Kyle Pitts is out of the question. I think it's going to either be Penei Sewell or Jamar Chase. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think that they're down to those two guys, and it's going to be either one of those. But appreciate it, Chase, ironically, for joining, bro. Please supporting the channel, and definitely appreciate you for following since 2017.
Yeah, so I heard like a couple weeks ago that y'all were going to do another one of those Jamar Chase versus Penei things.
Yes, sir.
Tell Zim to let me get on that Jamar Chase on his side for that.
I'll let him know, bro. I got you.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
brother. Thank you, Ace.
Yes, sir. Who they? Shout out to Mount Healthy for sure. This has been Q&Ace. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. I wanted to keep going, man. I appreciated everyone jumping in, so I didn't want to keep you guys out of it. But as usual, you can let me know how you feel in the comments. Please subscribe and share this with your people. If you're not subscribed, please do yourself a favor and do that, because I'm going to let you guys be entered into a contest to where you can get a jersey of your choice. Once we get to 15,000 subs, you can get a jersey of your choice. So whether that's the new stripes that are coming out, whether it's whatever, like if you're not a Bengals fan and you're watching this and you just want a jersey for your team, it's going to be a jersey on me. So please be sure to hit that like button. Please be sure to hit that subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter at New Stripe City. This has been Q&Ace, and as usual, I'll leave you guys with a who day all day, every day, and especially on Sunday.